Hello, everybody. Dr. Clifton Otto here. And today I would like to talk with you briefly about Hawaii's cannabis conflict. I am a cannabinoid medicine specialist and certifying physician for Hawaii's medical cannabis program, not a member or consultant for any dispensary, and no other financial disclosures. Hawaii's Medical Use of Cannabis Act was signed into law on June 14th, 2000. This was a significant event because it was the first time that a state authorized the medical use of cannabis by means of the legislative process. Our Medical Use of Cannabis Act was codified within our Uniform Controlled Substances Act, Chapter 329. The administration at the time never consulted with the Department of Justice or DEA about creating a state-authorized medical cannabis program. They figured that the DEA would probably say no, so why even bother asking? Perhaps the administration felt that the lack of any legal action from the Department of Justice was a certain tacit approval of the program. The original program was a grow-your-own model. There were no provisions for seeds or cuttings. Patients were allowed to cultivate 7 plants, 3 of which could be flowering and 4 immature, and they could possess 3 ounces of usable material at any time. The program was administered by the Narcotics Enforcement Division, and during their tenure of administering the program, there was a release of the confidential patient database and presentations made to the public against our certifying physicians. There were essentially no changes to the program for 13 years. And then in 2013, we had SB 642, which increased the amount of cannabis that patients could possess to 4 ounces and allowed them to cultivate 7 plants of any stage of maturity. We also had HB 668, which would move the program from the Narcotics Enforcement Division to the Department of Health with an effective date of January 1, 2015, which was preparation for HB 321 in 2015, which created a state licensed dispensary program. It was a vertical monopoly model based on reducing the risk of diversion, reportedly, with 8 licensees across the state. Now let's jump ahead to 2022, where we still have just 8 licensees across 4 islands, all of which are technically considered continuing criminal enterprises. What that means is they cannot engage in regular banking services, and they're unable to deduct their standard business expenses from their federal tax returns, which results in about a 70% tax burden on all of their revenue. This cost is being passed on to patients. We currently have about 34,000 registered patients, all who must violate federal law to participate in our state program, which brings with it a slew of negative consequences that most patients are not aware of and definitely not prepared for. And these are not being prevented by the annual Rohrabacher-Farr appropriations rider that Congress is renewing each year. Our legislature, after 21 years, decided that it was time to take action on this issue. And both chambers of our legislature during the regular session of 2021 adopted HCR 132, which asked the Department of Health to file a federal waiver application with the DEA to eliminate the federal conflict that is requiring that our dispensaries and patients violate federal law to participate in our state program. In the meantime, we have the dual use task force, which was mandated by state law and being conducted by the Department of Health. And already this task force is being significantly influenced by national organizations that are trying to push a national agenda upon our state. Currently, there are only 3 states that I know of that have been pursuing possible solutions for the federal conflict at the state level, and these are Iowa, Minnesota, and Hawaii. But nearly all the states in the union have created medical and some adult use programs that require all of their end users to violate federal law in order to participate and to suffer the consequences on their own. In terms of a federal solution, many folks believe that we should wait for the federal government to fix this conflict. And in terms of a federal endgame, the way I see it, this could potentially set us up for a takeover by the federal government and Big Pharma, whether through either rescheduling or descheduling at the federal level, with an expansion of the illicit market being caused by a national cannabis tax and excessive regulation, and could also risk the loss of our state's sovereignty over the strictly interstate use of cannabis through a dependence upon FDA-approved products and a crippling of our local market. So states really need to take action on this issue, especially since it's the states that created this problem in the first place. Hawaii is unlike any other state in the union, and we should not allow a national agenda to be forced upon us. Thank you for your attention, and please feel free to contact me with any questions. Aloha.